Huh? Can we? Can I vary all of them independently? Yes or no? No. You've already seen I cannot vary even pressure and temperature independently at the triple points. Yeah? And for those lines, I couldn't vary at least one of them. I could vary one of them independent, the second one is dependent on the first one. So in this case also, I'll take the same very basic fact that the chemical potential must be the same across all the phases. So for first component, let's say, the chemical potential, so remember I told you the example of water hexane. The chemical potential of water and hexane need not be same, but water and vapor, water and liquid phase have to be the same. So the chemical potential of one component in phase alpha at whatever pressure, temperature, so let me just get rid of that, and it's implicit, okay, should be equal to mu of beta is equal to mu of gamma is equal to all, right, for second phase, for all the C phases, for the Cth phase, that should be true for all these phases. The chemical potential of each component should be at equilibrium, should be equal to the chemical potential of that component in each and every phase, right? So which means I have from this one, I have P minus 1 constraints. I have P minus 1 equations, so that gives me P minus 1 constraints. And total I have C such equations. So in all it gives me P minus 1 times C constraints. Yes? These would tell me what are the dependencies. So from the total number of variables that I have, if I reduce these dependencies, I'll get the total number of degrees of freedom, or the total degrees of freedom, F. So F would be equal to P into C minus 1 plus 2 minus C into P minus 1. And that gives me C minus P plus 2. And you can verify that for a single component system, this happens to be true. So when component was 1, in the previous example that I gave you, and your phase was 1, then the number of degrees, the degrees of freedom was 2. You could vary lesser temperature. Then you were on this line, or the equilibrium line, when you had two phases, one component, so the degree of freedom is 1. I could vary only temperature or only pressure. And when I had three phases, single component, then the degree of freedom is 0. So what we did in the last case, we had mu of alpha is equal to mu of beta. That gives you one equation, right? Each equation relates two of these variables, right? So each equation means that I am getting rid of 1 degree of freedom. So that's something called the phase rule. Now, it's fine, clear, no problems, good. So, if we know the phase rule, we can look at some of the phase diagrams. Okay, over in the handout, I've given you a couple of phase diagrams of carbon dioxide and water And in Atkins, I think helium is also mentioned, but you could just have a look at some of them, try to understand. So let me just, you know why that curve which I showed you in the phase diagram for water is something like this. The slope is negative. In the previous one, I plotted a positive slope, and I told you that it's not for water. Let me, I should never do this. Yeah, always mark at least the axis. This slope, solid liquid equilibrium, is negative in this one. Do you understand why it's negative? It's because of the association of the water molecules. And we have some time, so I'll show you how it's negative for water. Okay. So let's say that's a very simplified picture of water. Actually, water has some 12 or 13 different forms of ice. Okay, types of ice. And if you look at the one that I've taken from Atkins, it shows you, I think, 11 of those. So we have another 2. So, ice could be in various forms depending on what kind of structure of water we have. It's not always the tetrahedral. Maybe a diamond-like structure is what people imagine most. It's kind of hexagon rings sometimes. It's kind of 4 molecules of water coming together and forming. So there are various different structures, and people spend their entire life researching on water. A lot of people do that. Okay, so it's very important. Of course, water is important. No. Let me look at the phase diagram of carbon dioxide, and I'll not plot it here. I'll just read out. The triple point of carbon dioxide is 216.18 Kelvin. Carbon dioxide. T3 is 216.8 Kelvin, and pressure is 5.11 atmosphere. Can you make some deduction out of it? Some inference out of it? Have you seen carbon dioxide? Dry ice, some of you definitely have seen. Maybe next time you go out, nowadays you have most of these machines with batteries and electric refrigerators, but earlier all these ice cream vendors used to have dry ice in their machines. I don't know how many of you have actually seen that. So, it sublimes. Can you correlate this data with the sublimation?
Yes. Since it is below the P3 is above the atmospheric pressure,
right.
The solid gas interface is available at 1 atmosphere, so it transforms directly from.
Exactly. Is that clear? 5.11 atmospheres, that's almost 5 atmospheres. At 1 atmosphere, what would be? If you look at that line, that's my P3. If I go below this, for looking for 1 atmosphere, that would lie somewhere over there. So from the solid, if it has to go at 1 atmosphere, it would not be able to go to the liquid. It will transform over here when I raise the temperature. Right?